You talked about how this can be categorized as an asset. It's certainly not going to be categorized as legal tender or a security. I mean, what's the thinking on that front personally for you?
Again, as I said, there are many different use cases, and you have to draw the lines around it. I mean, one simple use case that we are all quite familiar with is as a crypto asset, right? So when we look at Bitcoin, or we look at Ether coin, or we look at stable coins of various kinds, these are all assets. Some of them are very volatile and their values fluctuate dramatically. We've seen that with Bitcoin, for example, as well as with Ethereum. Others, like stable coins, are fixed against a certain store of value, whether it's a currency or whether it is any other asset, and they don't fluctuate. And then they can operate as a payment system and in some ways as a proxy currency. So again, depending on the use cases and how you draw the use cases, they will have to be regulated differently. What you have seen many other jurisdictions do is to fundamentally define them as crypto assets, right? So just like you have gold as an asset, you can have these coins, these tokens as an asset. And the moment it's an asset and it's on an exchange, and the exchange is regulated, and there's a very detailed KYC, and it's backed up by a financial institution, then all of the exchange regulations, all of the asset regulations fall into place, and you can look at that use case. So many jurisdictions have done that. So again, as I said, it depends on the use case, and it depends on the parameters, the lines that are drawn around that use case to enable different aspects of regulation to come into play.
Mr. Sinha, I'm trying to understand the sequencing of today's meeting, because you met with stakeholders, you met with industry representatives, but should the committee not have met with the government first? Because we're given to understand that active deliberations are on within government to finalize the bill, which will be brought in this session of Parliament, which is barely a few days away. So would it not have made sense for the committee to meet the government, or do you now intend meeting the government?
Well, we have three branches of government, Shereen, as you know well. We have the executive branch and we have the legislative branch. And certainly in the legislative branch, honorable members would like to know how this industry is evolving, what's happening with this technology, and what the risks and the opportunities are. So in the legislative branch, we have learned a lot about the industry, and I'm sure the executive branch will move forward appropriately as well.
Was there a view within the committee, sir, that the bill, when it is brought to Parliament, should be vetted first by the Standing Committee before it goes through?
We didn't take any views, as I said, Shereen. It was a discussion about the industry and how the industry is evolving. We will, of course, have to see, how and when the bill is introduced as to what may be the right process for taking it forward.
Are there going to be more meetings, Mr. Sinha? Is this the first and the only meeting, or will there be more meetings on this issue with the Standing Committee?
Again, as I said, we are the legislative branch, and we have to see what the executive branch undertakes on this important matter. And then, of course, we will discuss it with honorable members, and then we will decide the course of action.
I want you to comment on something that we heard from the Reserve Bank Governor. I go back again to the conversation that he had at the Business Standard event a few days ago, where he said that, the quantum of investment seems to be exaggerated. You're saying that the information given to you by the exchanges, etc., was 1.5 crore registered users and about 6 billion in investments. How do you respond then, or react to what the RBI governor said, that, the quantum and the size and scale may perhaps be somewhat exaggerated?
Shereen, what the members of the various exchanges told us is that they have put out in the public domain, and I'm just quoting numbers that they have already released in the public domain, that they have across the various different exchanges 1.5 crore registered users. These have not been deduplicated, and that the outstanding value of all of the different crypto assets that are traded on the various exchanges is 6 billion. They said that these are validated numbers that are coming from these exchanges. And I would tend to believe those numbers that they have put out themselves in the public domain as opposed to media reports.
Right. Mr. Sinha, before I let you go, you talked about the need for a judicious balance as we move forward with putting forward regulation. As you look at the key risks as well as the opportunities, what would you prioritize in both buckets, the key risks as well as the opportunities?
Well, the opportunity for us in India is that we are a leader globally on financial regulation. And what has been achieved through the India stack, and particularly through UPI, where we are doing 4 billion transactions a month, is extraordinary. We are absolutely the global leaders now in fintech regulation. So I think with the tremendous number of entrepreneurs that we have, the deep technical talent, and the outstanding regulatory framework that the government has put together has made us a world leader. And therefore, it's very important for us to be able to harness the force of this crypto technology and enable it for our domestic users in an appropriate, balanced way. So that's the opportunity, and it will enable us to be a global leader and build a very large crypto industry in India as well, which will of course create jobs and wealth for India. So that clearly is the opportunity. And there are things that you can do with crypto that you can't do with anything else. So for example, any transaction done on a crypto platform cannot be repudiated. The transaction always goes through, it can be reconciled. You could link it up with global systems that you could not easily do otherwise. So there are serious benefits of using crypto technologies, and that's where the opportunities are. The risks, as I've already outlined, are in these 5 buckets: the investor protection, the fiscal stability, the monetary policy, capital controls, and of course, preventing illicit finance. So those are the risks. And obviously, as I said, the regulatory framework that will have to get developed will have to balance both the opportunities as well as these risks.
But would you say that, time is of the essence, given the fact that we're already at $6 billion in terms of investments at this point in time? Do you believe that the need for putting in place the regulatory mechanism, putting in place regulations, the time is now?
Media reports suggest, Shereen, that the executive, that is the government, is coming forward with some legislation. That's been reported in the media. Personally, I would welcome it. I think it's an opportune time to put in place world-leading regulation in India, which I think we're very capable of. We've demonstrated that with Aadhaar, with UPI, with what we're doing in the health stack. So we absolutely have the ability to develop world-leading protocols. And I think we should certainly do that as far as crypto is concerned as well, and make India a world leader in this fintech technology, just like we have done in other areas as well.
Well, we are given to understand that the government will move the bill in this session of Parliament. And Mr. Sinha, perhaps we will bring you back then for much more of a conversation. I understand that you are constrained by confidentiality because the Parliamentary Standing Committee process is a confidential process. But many thanks for joining us this evening. Appreciate your time. And thanks for joining us here on India Business Hour. That is the Chairman of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, Jayant Sinha. Appreciate your time. We will take a break. There's a lot more coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're back in a moment.
Tarson's products